going on, everyone? This is Real Deal Sports. We are back for another dope show. Walter's not here, had some stuff to take care of, but he will be back for the next show. But Brother John, how are you, sir?
I'm really good. I
Yeah.
yeah, it's April 1st and no one pranked me, nothing, you know.
Hey,
Not that anyone ever does, but still I'm glad that it doesn't. I don't
true.
need
Fair.
that. Don't need
I
that in my life. Oh
I
yeah,
get
and I
it.
also think it's my third anniversary today. So there's that too.
Oh, congrats! What did you
Thank you.
guys do?
We went out to eat and watched a movie. That was about it.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
nice.
Hey, speaking of, we saw Batman. Okay, hang on. Did you have you seen it yet?
Wait! Don't tell the movie, because just in
No,
case
have you
anybody
seen it yet?
watch,
But have you seen it yet?
no.
Okay. I've never seen Kanye West and Batman in the same room together, but I've seen them boots before only one other time, and I'm pretty sure that them boots that Batman we wearing, I think Kanye West might be Batman. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm
Yeah,
putting it
he
out there.
could
I
be.
think Kanye West might be Batman. They got the same boots.
It was
So
black one.
yeah, it's I'm just putting that out there, leaving that in, putting it in the air.
Yeah, yeah. So, with the crazy last couple days in sports and in, the entertainment industry, let's just talk about it, man. The slop heard around the world today. Um, Will Smith resigns from the Academy. But let's talk about the situation first. When you saw the situation happen, what was your first thought?
My first thought was this is gonna be huge. As soon as I saw it, I knew it was real. Like I knew it was real. Now again, there's still people out there saying no, Illuminati, lizard people, all that stuff. All right, whatever. She's a sorceress. Who knows? Whatever. I'm not get crossing that line. Whatever. That's another story. But
Yeah.
whether it was staged or real, no, I went immediately real. I sent it to a bunch of people like this is real. My wife was still didn't believe it for a while, but once you see him start yelling, then you're like, oh, you know what? This look real. Because here's the thing, man. If they were doing a bit, that bit was not funny. So that was like it was clearly it was no bit. Like if it was whoever wrote that bit was a clown, probably lost their job afterward. But I
True.
say that whoever wrote the joke probably lost their job afterward. But here's the thing: that joke, I'll bet you whoever wrote that joke, right? Because they say Chris Rock didn't even write the joke. Whatever writer wrote that joke, like I know for a fact he pulled his punches. Like he probably had to like take two or three jokes off and then was like, all right, here, how's this one? And they're like, all right, yeah, that's soft.
True.
So like if they think that was hard, like it's a good thing they didn't go with the jokes they probably originally wrote.
Now let me ask you this: do you think Will Smith was right in the way he reacted?
No, we've talked about this before on the show. Like we all have different reactions. I believe in the what is it, the First Amendment, where the freedom of speech. I believe in that, right? So I believe it is crucial to, even if you know in your heart someone is wrong, you have to. I have to let them say whatever they want because without thought, without speech, and it's you're as a society you're unable to think and without letting people voice their opinions, even if they're stupid, uh, evil, whatever. You have to let them voice their opinions. The
Right.
second they put their hands on you, though, that's the second where you get to say, all right, now enough is enough. Now we have other amendments to deal with this kind of stuff. But I strongly believe in the First Amendment. I think you have to let people say even the stupidest, most evil, vile things, whatever, and just roll with it. It's one of my things. Like I defend Westbrook all the time, but like no matter what people in the stands are saying, even if it's horrible things, me personally, I gotta let that I got to deal with it a legal way, a different way. I wouldn't put my hands on them, but the second you put your hands on someone, I know, then yeah, the story's different.
True. I agree. You know, I think, what I've come to see a lot on social media is people saying, "Oh, well, he was justified in what he did. But also in the same breath, they'll tell their kids, "Sticks and stones uh, will break your bones, but words will never hurt you." But it's like,
Yeah.
but you just said Will Smith was justified in what he did
Yeah.
over those words you just said should never hurt you. So, I think I honestly feel like it was misguided anger, because he's been through a lot these last couple years, at the hands of his wife, just, just really putting stuff out there that shouldn't, you got to keep a lot of this stuff. You, whatever you go through in your bedroom or in your house, that's between y'all. You know,
Yeah. But before him it was Dwayne Wade, right? For years people were calling Dwayne Wade all these things that they're now saying about him, whatever. And Dwayne
right,
Wade just came out and rolled with it. He said, "Yeah, my wife kind of I let her do her thing. She runs the house like whatever. On the court, I'm a dog. On the street, I'm a cat." You know what I mean? Like he came out and so how you going to make fun of a man? How you going to make fun of someone who doesn't care, right?
yeah,
And so that's the thing with her and Will was like they said they didn't care, right? She said, which by the way, who even knew she was claiming that she had alopecia besides her fans? Like I doubt Chris Rock knew she was claiming to have that. I doubt the writer knew she was claiming to have it. For me, I thought alopecia was just getting old. I think we're all losing our hair, but okay. But like she said she didn't care, right? Apparently, before when she has talked about it, she said, "Yeah, I don't care. I roll with the punches, and it is what it is, whatever." Well, clearly you care if that's the case because you couldn't
true,
take a joke. Um, and I'm not saying whether I would have made that joke or not, but I'm just saying, I tend to steer away from looks, right? I think there's a lot of things to tease people about. I lean away from looks, but at the same time, like a joke's a joke. Comedies, it's open to interpretation. So yeah, it's just they can't take they clearly couldn't take a joke. But I don't even think he was defending his wife. I think he was defending his reputation, like you said. I think it had nothing to do with defending his wife.
yeah,
When earlier in the show, they had made fun of him, saying that he was approved on the list for to go hang out with those other women or something, and his wife laughed her head off at him.
yeah,
So she thought it was funny when the jokes were about him, but apparently she didn't like them when they were about her.
right. And I definitely feel, for anybody watching, don't we don't we're not saying you can say whatever you want to say, because a lot of people don't play that. But also, don't put your hands on people, because you never know, how people will react. Let's say hypothetically, Chris Rock hits him in the back of the head with the microphone, or punches him in the back of the head and he falls down the stairs and hurts himself, or Will Smith slaps Chris Rock and Chris Rock falls and hits his head. Anything could have happened.
Yeah,
So
no.
always think before you do.
Again, you got bear with me. Listen, let me say it through before you respond. But I have a bit that I do about this sort of same thing where this stuff has to happen every now and then, though. You know what I mean? To let people know, like you can't just say whatever you want, right? Because here's the thing: we think about most comedians. A lot of them were smaller guys, right? Guys who couldn't stick up for themselves or be a hero on the football field or in the court or whatever. Think about some of my favorites: Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, Chris Rock, and Dave Chappelle were about 40 pounds until they were 40, right? Like they were both really skinny guys. Like they were not big guys. So like this is their way of sort of whatever. But every now and then something like this should never happen, but it has to happen in a sense to let people know is a line at some point where you have to keep in mind with these jokes comes could come bad results. But the whole bit that I do is about the presidents, right? You should never assassinating a president is terrible. It's a horrible thing. But it has to happen every now and then to make it where like everyone and their mom is not just trying to be president. Like, no, you have to be serious about this. This has to be something you really want because you could die. You know what I mean? Like, and so like even though it sounds terrible, like this stuff has to happen every now and then to remind you, like, yeah, you don't just get to say whatever you want. You can, and we'll protect that right for you to say it, but we can't always protect you, and you have to be willing to roll with the punches, and even if they come at the Oscars. And so it's even though it's a terrible thing, like it's almost something that that people it kind of keeps in perspective. Like, listen, all right, I can't just say whatever I want and expect no comeback.
And this is for all people. Just watch what you say. And also, if somebody say something crazy, don't put your hands on them because they might be waiting for you to put your hands on them so they can shoot you, so they can, do something bad to you never know people's intentions. So,
So
just be mindful.
and
Just
getting
be
to the question, actually, because I don't think I've actually answered it. How significant is him resigning from the academy? Right. So they're saying if now that he's resigned, he'll no longer have access to. Let me read this real quick because I don't know off the top of my head. But academy screenings and events. Don't know what that means. He'll also not be allowed to vote in the Academy Awards. Who cares? And he still could be nominated for awards since being a member is not a requirement for eligibility. So
I think it would have
here,
mattered more if they fired him from it.
my whole thing is it doesn't matter, right?
It-
I don't think it's significant. Listen, oh come on, Lucas Joyner came out with a song about him earlier, about a year or two ago. Way
Mhm.
more significant than any award from the Oscars will ever be. Right, getting your rewards
But
from
but nah, because
screw the
in
Academy.
that
The
wait
Academy's a joke.
in
The
that
Academy's
in that
a joke.
realm though, in that realm, almost like us as YouTubers, we want those streaming awards. Yes, they might not matter to other people, but we want them because it gives us validation. Kind of
Well,
like for them,
wouldn't you rather have? Wouldn't you rather have a million people watch our show than to receive an award from YouTube? Right. And by the way, I
honestly, you
enjoy
would want
YouTube, the
both.
platform they offer. I'm not talking about you. This isn't a shot at YouTube at all. But I'm saying, yeah, but which one matters more? I would rather a multitude of my peers saying that guy is one of the best at what he does, and he puts art into he puts work into his art, into his craft. I'd rather that than whatever, some streaming service to say here's your award for
But
being.
also, they kind of go hand in hand because if people are not watching, you can't get the award.
But the Oscars aren't. This dude was going to put out them movies no matter what. So this is why I'm saying YouTube's a bad example, because YouTube actually is a great platform for us to be able to do this on. But the Oscars, they don't give him the right or the means or any of that to go out and do this stuff. This is just for them to be able to gloat themselves and look at, like, ooh, look at the great things we're doing.
It's almost
The
for
Oscars is a joke. It's been a joke for years.
I think for actors though, winning an Oscar is almost like being nominated to the Hall of Fame in their
I
sport
agree. I agree, but
because
the Hall of Fame
it's
hasn't ever.
something not many people get. Just like think about the NFL or the NFL. Let's go with the NFL. Everybody's not going to be a Hall of Famer. Just like with acting, everyone's not going to win an Oscar. But when you do, it solidifies your career.
First
Like
off, I
think
don't even know who's watching the Oscars anymore, but I know people do. So those who do, like,
like a lot of
kudos.
times people be upset when people don't win Oscars. They say the one time Denzel won it for Training Day,
But
he should
that's
have
the
won
whole point.
3 or 4
That's the
other
whole
ones.
point. That's what I'm saying. That's why it doesn't matter what these people think, because they don't know what's best. You have a bunch of clowns saying who's best who have gotten it wrong for years, right? Will Smith just won his first. Samuel Jackson just won his first. Like, Denzel didn't win one for the longest time. Like, this is why it doesn't matter. Like, having
It
Lucas
matters to
Joyner.
them. We can't say what it might not matter to us because we're not in that profession.
I'm
But
not saying I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all. I'm saying it means more to have your peers. And by the way, his peers are not our peers, right? So I'm saying Lucas Joyner, something like that, right? Those are his peers, right? Our peers are not Lucas Joyner. But I'm saying to have his peers give him his credit when he deserves it, after he whatever he does, instead of some guy like 20 years later being like, all right, yeah, we'll give you one because you haven't that's not the same thing, man. Like, it's something, but it shouldn't matter the same. It shouldn't. I would, like I said, I'd rather have a million people who are my peers watch this show than for than for Amazon to come and say, here's a thing because you guys' show is so great. I could care less about putting some plaque on my wall if the viewers weren't there. I'd rather have them, and I'd rather have them appreciate the show.
And I would
But no,
say,
I agree. It matters some. I'm not saying it doesn't
I
matter
would
at
say
all, but I think
it
the
just depends
Academy is
on
a
who you
joke.
are. Everyone feels differently. It just depends on who you are. But
But that's why I appreciate guys like we were just talking about him. The Cowboys wide receiver. You said he's going to play in the fan controlled league. T.O.
yeah, we'll talk about him later.
No, it wasn't him. It was Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson, who didn't show up to his own Hall of Fame thing, right?
No, it was Terrell.
Terrell. Okay, what's Terrell? Okay, I respect that. People were so mad at him, and I'm like, why? Why? These people disrespected him for years. He knew he was worthy. Their validation doesn't matter. If you know that I belong there, I'm in the greats. I don't care when you guys tell me I belong there. Like I already know I belong. Like I appreciated that, and I liked that when he did that. I was all for it. And by the way, people saying why hasn't Chris Rock responded to this? So that night, all those people, right? Chris Rock got smacked in the face by Muhammad Ali. No one goes up to check on Chris Rock, right? Like no one. And yet all these actors are going around to Will and you know what's going to happen? All Chris Rock's peers, comedians, for the next 2 to 3 years are going to roast Will. Chris doesn't need to say a thing. Like Will, especially Jada too, the Oscars, all of that is going to get roasted for not even checking on Chris Rock, asking Chris Rock how he's doing. So they had their night. Like you said. They care about that stuff, and they had their night. They checked on their guy and made sure he was okay and all that stuff and whatever. But comedians are about to have the next 2 to 3 years just roasting that crowd, and it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it remains to be seen. Just gotta wait and see. It was a bad look, but hopefully they figure it out. Hopefully, Will and Chris have that conversation. But we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Like our next topic, Bobby Wagner has moved on from the Seattle Seahawks to the LA Rams on a 5-year, $50 million contract. I think the Rams just got better because now you have a middle linebacker that I don't want to say knows what he's doing, but he's one of the best in the league. Let's
I mean, he
just be
knows what he's doing.
no, because that's kind of like a shot at the linebackers before, saying they didn't know what they were doing.
Oh, I got you.
So they cashed in with this one, honestly. Bobby Wagner has been one of the best linebackers, probably one of the most underrated linebackers. Just consistent year in and year out, no matter how good Seattle's defense was or how bad it was. So I think now going to LA, they're coming off a Super Bowl. You have Aaron Donald in front of you every, hopefully 17 games. You got Leonard Floyd, Bobby Wagner, Jalen Ramsey. They got a good thing over there. I think that defense I could see them being like top 5, top 3 this season. And I think he's going to make a big difference, especially when it comes to playing the Aaron Rodgers of the world, the Tom Brady's of the world, getting the defense in position to succeed. What's your take on it?
It's interesting. I mean, yeah, they definitely get better than not having him, right? But you still need a rusher too to help out with Aaron Donald, right? Because here's the thing: Aaron Donald is going to get double teamed every game. He's
Well,
just going to.
Leonard Floyd has,
Right.
he
So somebody, when he gets double teamed, that means somebody's open or at least has soft coverage. Somebody has to capitalize and get to the quarterback, because if Aaron Donald gets double teamed every game, every play, and no one gets the quarterback, then all that talent's just going to waste up front. So adding Bobby Wagner always makes the team better, but I do think it still hurt a lot to lose Von Miller. Um, it's interesting.
But I think the kind of contract he got in Buffalo, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the Rams had that kind of money.
No, right. So I understand that, but at the same time, like Bobby Wagner doesn't bring the same kind of game that that Von Miller did, and I'm not sure that they need so much middle linebackering as they did just someone to make sure someone capitalized on those Aaron Donald plays. Because he's human, right? He's gonna show wear and tear eventually. But Von Miller, he's not. Bobby Wagner's. They got a good deal though, like you said. I mean, Bobby Wagner's younger than Von Miller, so to get him on this deal. And by the way, he had just had the most tackles of his career. I know it's because their defense was on the field pretty much the entire games, but like he did just have 170 tackles in a 17 game season. That's 10 a game. I mean, that's still beast mode. So
Yeah,
yeah, I love this move for
he'll
the
be
Rams.
32 in June.
Yeah, and I think Vaughn was already 32. I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just a hair. But this contract compared to that one is. I will say at the same time too. Von Miller's contract is not that good. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's a lot of money no matter what. But it's not that good compared to what it looks like though. Only 50 million of it's guaranteed. So I don't know if they're going to keep him past that 50 million. But it looks the numbers are inflated. So we'll see. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love this move. I love that the Rams have more leader type quality on that team. And I think the 49ers are going to take a step back. Trey Lance's first year. The Seahawks are going to take a huge step back. It's time
Yeah.
they just admit they're in rebuild mode. And then the Cardinals, man,
They'll be bottom of the division.
I think the Cardinals, they're probably they seem a lot like that Raptors team. That was great regular season team, but come playoffs, I wouldn't doubt they get bounced in the first round again. So they got that division.
I think they'll look better this year. I think they can be a
I mean, they were banged up
seven,
last year. They
seven
were
and
they were
six,
banged
10
up.
and 7 kind of team.
They
I
were
think
really banged up last year. I'll give them that, but
I
I
think
just
losing Chandler Jones will be big for them. He went to the Raiders. So I
yeah.
think losing someone like that is going to be big. So, yeah, man. Hey, Bobby Wagner, congratulations. You went from uh, uh, a very messy situation to a great one. At least you know, the Rams want to win. You got a young coach that wants to win. And you got some, he got some ballers on that defensive side of the ball. They got all pros at every level pretty much. D line,
Yeah.
linebackers, and secondary. So, best of luck to them guys. But in other NFL news, the new overtime rule will give both teams in the postseason a chance to get the ball, regardless of if whoever gets it in overtime first in the playoff scores a touchdown or not. They're giving the other team a chance. I think, I think personally, and side note, they're keeping the rules the same in the regular season. I think they're going to change that if one or two teams don't make the playoffs due to you score a touchdown, first touchdown in overtime wins. I think, I can see it now. Denver or somebody don't get into the playoffs because they give up a touchdown in the beginning of overtime in week 17 and they get knocked out the playoffs. So hypothetically, I think when that happens, they're gonna change the rules. But what's your take on it, bro?
I don't love it. It's fine. It is what it is, right? Like I'm more upset that they got rid of kickoff returns and stuff still to this day. But at the same time, like I really like the rule that the Titans tried to impose.
And what was the rule?
So I'm glad. First off, I'm really glad they didn't go with college rules. That 25 yards and get the ball. That's the stupidest rule I've ever heard of. So I'm glad they didn't do that. But the Titans actually had a rule where if you score in overtime and go for two, and make it, you automatically win the game outright. But if you miss, the other team gets a chance to come back because then you could lose the game, right? If you only score 6, they come back and they could win it with 7. So I like that rule a lot better. Actually, it left it on the table where you could risk going for 2 or or whatever. But I don't know. This rule, it is what it is, right? I guess it's only being added to playoff games, so they don't care how long playoff games go, right? That's good television. If the playoff game goes longer, regular season games you don't want going longer. So I don't know
Right.
that they will change it with regular season, man. Unless Tom Brady maybe doesn't make it or something, but over this
I
rule.
think
But
it's
yeah,
gonna be kind of one of those scenarios when that happens, and then they're gonna change it next season, going into
yeah.
next
But
season after this upcoming season.
I don't think so. Just based on the fact that now more teams get in. So it's like, man, we made it so more teams get in, and you still couldn't make it. I don't, I don't think people are going to give you the same credit. You know what I mean? Like if only 6 teams made it in, still sure, right? But now that they made it where an extra team can get in, and you still couldn't make it because of an overtime rule, it's like, I don't think people are going to care as much. I know their fans will, but I don't think the rest of the league will care, even if it's Russell Wilson. And I know he's a huge deal and he's good money for NFL and playoffs and he's entertaining and fun to watch. But at the end of the day, man, like no one's going to be upset if you're 10 and if you're 9-8, 10-7, and you don't make the playoffs because of because of an overtime game. Like I don't think so many people are going to care.
Right. True. Yeah. And like I say with everything else, gotta wait and see. Hopefully, no one gets outed, like you say earlier with Tom Brady and them. Not going to the playoff due to that kind of rule. But we shall see. It would suck if I'm a 12-4 team or something, and like that year with the Patriots, go 11-5 and don't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
now that an extra team gets in, the odds of 11-5 team not making it are pretty crazy. Right now that
well,
7 teams go
not.
into
I
the
mean,
six.
you could look at it as like the AFC North, for instance, with the Ravens and Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Hypothetically, I mean, in Cincinnati, let's say Cincinnati doesn't get in because they lose week 17 and there was a winner get in, kind of like the Colts did this past year. It
But
wasn't
here's the
in
thing: if an
overtime.
11-5 team isn't making it, that means that someone won their division at probably I would say 8-8, but now it's like it would be 8-9 or 9-8. That would mean someone won their division at like 8-9 and did get in, right? And I think that would be more under question, right? Is because listen, just because you won your division doesn't mean you should get in if you're 8-9 when this 11-5 team, 11-6 team got bounced.
I
I
mean, but
think
that's
that would be
exactly what it means, though.
right. So I think that would be brought up more into question than like, well, they lost the game in overtime. I think that
Right.
that would be brought way more into question is why is this 8-9 team in the playoffs? They couldn't even win 50% of their games, but they won their division. Like that's not fair. And so I don't that 11-5 season was a crazy season. I remember the Seahawks were 7-9, made it that year, I think, or a couple years later after that.
Yeah.
Those are ridiculous stories, and that just brings up like, listen, is the winning your division really the most important thing as compared to winning games? But I like I said, I understand what you're saying, but the odds that happening are so ridiculous. Like of an 11-6 or 12-5 team making it and being not made it because of that would be a crazy situation.
Yeah. I agree. So would the odds be crazy for how crazy are the odds for Juju and Jackson Mahomes collabing on the TikTok?
Juju says it's not going to happen. Juju says it ain't happening. Here's the thing. I wonder if it's not so much that I kind of wonder if it's maybe they just have different fans, right? Maybe Juju's a little more grown up,
Or maybe
or maybe Juju's like, listen, I go dance on the Dallas Star, but I don't go to Washington and dance on people's memorials, and that's where we differ as people.
he rethinking because of the whole, year before last, when he was dancing on everybody's star and it was coming for his head. So maybe he's like, all right, I'm gonna rethink this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but
relax.
dancing on a star puts you on a target on the field. It don't dancing on someone's memorial puts you a target in
Right,
over the
but
road.
I mean, think about it. Playing in the NFL is already hard enough. You don't want 11 guys pissed off at you because you're disrespecting their home turf
No, but you
or
still get to play. You go disrespect another player, you're gonna have some offensive players coming for your head too, not just
all
the
of it.
defense.
All yeah, but you got to think it's
I'm just
already
saying
hard enough.
there's a
Game.
strong line between dancing on the star and dancing on someone's memorial. That's all I'm
Just
saying.
he don't want every team to come at his head like Cincinnati did last a couple years ago. Lighten him up every play. You don't. He like, look, I'm just trying to. I think what he's really trying to do is just focus
I
because
agree.
I think he's one slip up away from being out the league. And he's like, look, this is
Yeah,
my
see, now I
one.
disagree with that. I
I,
think he's way too
but think
talented.
about it. No one was really, like think about it. No one was really like, hey, Juju's out there, go grab him. I mean, after Pittsburgh
But
let
why
him
is
go,
that? Why? It's the same reason because Ben Roethlisberger did the same thing to Juju that the Bears did to Allen Robinson. They refused to throw him the ball.
Juju was hurt a lot too
Okay,
this past season.
what I'm
So
saying. When
that
these
could play a
guys were on
role.
the field, when they were on the field, their teams refused to throw them the ball. That's a big difference between saying you're not good enough and our quarterback is a whiny little
So
child
was
and won't throw you
was,
the
was
ball.
Big Ben not throwing him the ball, or could he just not get him the ball?
I mean, a little bit of both, but Big Ben's always been a whiny little child. So
Like, hey, you ran 20 yards. I told you run 10 and come back.
I
You,
take that back.
hey,
He's a very large whiny child. He's not a
my
very
arm
yeah.
can't do what it used to. You got to run 10 yards and come back. Can't
Yeah.
do them 20
People make
yard
fun
out.
of him. People make fun of Charles Barkley. At least he was still in shape when he was playing. Like this
True.
Ben, man, that guy's is a sad case for an athlete.
He just
Um,
took too much. He took too much punishment.
yeah, he tried to run early in his career. He would stand in the pocket for a really long time, take some big hits. But
I remember.
I'm not even getting into his. I went down that trail, but that's not my point. Is the athleticism and all that stuff. My point is
We
this is a
talking about
guy.
Juju.
This
Let's
is a
get back.
guy who Juju, but
Yeah.
Ben was a guy who if he didn't want to throw to you, he just wouldn't, and he would
Well,
lose games.
hopefully,
He would lose games just to prove his point, and so that's why I don't think Juju is as bad as we think he is. I think he's still got a lot to prove in this league.
and that's what I think too. And I think
Right, but
once Antonio Brown left, hold on. Once Antonio Brown left, he saw what it was to be a number one. And it's same thing. CD Lamb is gonna go through this season without Amari Cooper. Yeah, you look great going against second, third, corner. But now when you got to look at Darius Slay twice a year in Philly and Kadarius White when you play the Bills, or you know Jalen Ramsey when you play the Rams, when you got to look at them for 4 quarters, things get different.
yeah,
And hopefully CD can keep up that same production.
yeah. I
Hopefully,
don't think
and
Juju.
hopefully Juju can.
I'm not saying he's going to tear up the league or anything. What I'm saying is, back to your point that he's one step away from being out of the league. This guy hasn't done anything bad. He
No.
and by the way, I don't think because he did TikToks he wasn't focused either. I think the guy
Well,
was focused. Like I don't think
I think they felt like it was kind of childish. Like, bro, you supposed to be
that's
getting ready
fair.
for a game and you
That,
doing
that's
TikTok dances.
that's fair. But so is not throwing to your receiver. I think that's even more childish. So
Well, we don't. Well, we can't say that because we don't know that.
I
If
watched
someone,
it happen. I
if
watched it
you, if,
happen.
but at the
How many
same
times did I
time,
have to be
watching
open?
watching a lot of these games, he was getting his bell rung. Now, was Big Ben making him go across the middle? Maybe. We don't know. We don't know. We can't say, but we don't know. But I think Juju, hey, whatever happened in Pittsburgh, leave that shit in Pittsburgh. Just be the best version of yourself for potentially a Super Bowl caliber team, a playoff team. I don't know how they're gonna look without Tariq, but just be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, he doesn't
You
need to be
know, be
Tyreek, or he doesn't need to be something else. Yeah, he needs to do what he
even
does best.
even if you can be 80% of you of the juju you was when
No, no, don't be
AB was in
100%.
Pittsburgh.
He says he's healthy. Go be
No, no,
100%.
no. I'm just saying statistic wise. If you can get those, get something similar to those stats when you were the second to AB, you'll be fine. Just focus. You know, just focus.
It is interesting to me that so many Pittsburgh receivers did get, I don't want to say big heads, but they got big fast, like bigger than, we're to the point where like they knew right away they were bigger than Big Ben, right? I mean, we're having a Mike Wallace, AB, Juju, the new guy there. Wow, I'm bad. The name's skipping me, but the new
Yeah,
receiver
I
they
know
got
who
there,
you're talking about. Yeah.
he already was like starting to get where like he knew he was bigger than Ben, and that's the thing is like they got some talent there, and I do think Ben had part to do with that. I don't want to take everything away from him, but at the same time, like he had a nice set of receivers come through. So
Yeah.
to all that talent not to win is kind of tough to see as a Steelers fan.
I think, it really came down to it's almost like Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. You got one guy you keep throwing to. When you take him away, who the hell else are you throwing to? The offense looks very different when you can shut
Yeah,
down Devontae Adams.
but at the same time, like that's the thing is, and it's not guaranteed. But guys like him and Brady and them, like it's almost his next man up. I mean, it
Yeah.
was
I mean,
it was
it's
Donald Driver,
different
then
for
Greg
Brady
Jennings,
though.
and then
I
all of a
think
sudden he made Jordy Nelson a star. Like Jordy Nelson was tearing up the league for 2 3 seasons. Goes
but
to the
I don't
Jets,
think
no one
Big
even
Ben
knew.
has ever made anybody else a star. Like second, third strings guys a star. They
Well,
might have had one good season, but they were not like a consistent.
Juju had a star season when while AB was still there.
Right.
The,
But then he fell off as soon as AB left.
he didn't fall off though. I don't believe that. First off, like you said, he got injured, and I believe that
Yeah.
that Ben just
But
stopped
but
throwing
when
the
I
ball.
when I
I
say he
don't think
fell
that's
off,
falling off.
injuries started piling up because
Yeah,
he
but
was taking a
but
lot
at
of
the same
those hits.
time, Ben stopped throwing in the ball. Like that's part of it too. Ben just
Do we
stopped
know
throwing the
that
ball.
for sure though?
Well, I watched the game, so like I watched the Bears just ostracize Allen Robinson this year. It was disgusting to see. I didn't know
Well,
why they
I
did
mean,
it.
the
It was
Bears
done. It
had
was done
like
on.
8 different quarterbacks too. So
Yeah, it was done on purpose. I don't care what they say. They did it
Allen
on purpose.
Robinson, you know,
They
he
ran him out
can't
of town.
he can't have chemistry with 8 different quarterbacks either.
Yeah, no, they ran him out of
That
town.
doesn't help.
They
It
ran him
doesn't
out of
help.
town. Bears knew that they couldn't keep him. They knew they were wasting his talent, so they tried to. I don't know what they're doing. If I were them, I would have chucked 150 balls to him and then sold him for as much as I could and got some draft picks back. And instead, they just decided to send him away for $1 to the Rams. So no, I think the Rams just got a really good grab in him. But back to this point,
Also,
man. Yeah, Juju. Listen, I don't know why he decided he's not going to do this. Whether his fan base is different, whether they
because
have different.
he has to
Maybe they
focus.
do different dances. Maybe they just they have different
I'm
style of
telling you,
dances,
Juju has maturity. Like, look,
or
man,
that, or that. But
I
I
have
don't think he
to.
was immature. I
I
don't
have
think he was
no.
immature.
I'm
But
saying in Pittsburgh, they probably felt that way.
yeah,
Like, like, bruh, you supposed to be focusing, not doing TikTok dances. You about to play a game within 20 minutes.
yeah. But there's this weird thing about if it's not filmed, then it didn't happen. I guarantee you, all the dudes in the locker room are doing these same dances. They're just not doing it on film, and so that's the difference. It's the same concept with the things AB does. We criticize, but when we hear about Rodman doing them, like in the past, because it's not on film, we're like, "Oh, that guy sounded cool. Like he sounded like he was a party animal and whatever." And it's just like, dude, he was doing the same thing AB was doing, but because it's on film, we like criticize it. It's
Yeah, but Rodman, he wasn't throwing up deuces in the middle of game
no, he just
75
left the
of the
finals
NBA.
to go to. He just left the finals to go to Las Vegas. Come on, man. Come
Hey,
on, like
you can't
if it's this weird thing where if it's not filmed, it didn't happen, and I don't like that. Or but these dudes are all dancing. what's his name? Did it at the Pro Bowl and it was cool, right? Mac Jones, he danced at the Pro Bowl, scoring whatever. That's cool,
Dude, that was a touchdown. You talking about before the game?
right? So
Before the
what?
game.
But why is dancing before the game? I understand those are two different things, but why is dancing before the game such a big deal? It's not. It's really not. It's a joke. Like it's. To used to dance on the star and all this stuff before and after games and during halftime and all this stuff. Like that's not what made him win or lose games.
Juju, just focus. Just focus. If you ever see this video, just focus on do what you gotta do. Do not,
So
you
I'm not
know,
disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I don't believe
don't
that
blow it.
because he did those things. I'm just saying I don't believe that because he did those things he wasn't focused. That's all I'm saying.
We,
I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna I'm
we'll
not gonna
never
say that he
know.
wasn't focused in the past.
We'll never know. We'll never. I mean, unless one of
True.
them
That's
write a
that's
book.
a true that's a true statement.
But one thing I do know is Bruce Arians won't be coaching the Tampa Bay Bucks this season. He has moved on up to the front office. There's been a lot of speculation that Tom Brady potentially told the owners of the Bucks, the only way I come back is if we move him around. And that's what they did. And that's why Tom is now unretired. And he gave Todd Bowles the ranks, which I love. I hope Tampa goes far so teams can see a black coach being productive. Even making a Super Bowl appearance. I think we'll do him and Byron Leftwich some good. Because it's like, bro, we getting it done. Granted, we got one of the greatest quarterbacks, but we're getting the shit done. Like, come on, man. The 3 years he's been here, we possibly 2 Super Bowls and one divisional playoff appearance where we barely lost. If it wasn't for a blown assignment and they gave up a 50-yard passing catch. So I hope for Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich they do well. But what's your take on it?
I didn't think about it like that, so to speak, because now that you say that, like, if right, we talk about getting aging and injuries and stuff. If Brady gets hurt or Brady has that age fall off at his age now, right? That could also be bad for those guys because, like,
True.
I mean, there's high expectations, and if they go 9-8 and miss the playoffs, that could be, it's like, man, you couldn't win with Tom Brady. And the thing is, it could be like, no, Tom Brady just had a bad year. He had 28 touchdowns and 21 interceptions or something like that. But
Right.
it could reflect on them. Um, so everyone who says that they met and knows Bruce Arians says that he's a great guy. He's great
Yeah.
energy. He's fun to,
He,
I don't know, whatever.
he seems like that kind of guy that'll praise you when you're right, but also kick you in the butt when you're wrong.
If you're a
You know?
kicker, he'll kick you. Yeah. But
No,
yeah, like no, he did. He kicked the kicker and I got like a thing flying in
that
front
was
of me.
Urban Meyer, man.
Oh yeah. But he did slap a player. He still slapped a
Yeah,
player. Yeah.
for pulling a guy out the pile, which could have been a penalty.
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing is, everything you see on TV though is like he's that guy who will. He called out Brady in the media before. He's called out Brady, be like, "No, yeah, we lost them games. Tom Brady ain't playing that well. He was supposed to make that throw and he didn't. And then one time he forgot it was fourth down and thought it was fifth down. And
Yeah, that one time in Chicago.
yeah, so he is that guy. And I think maybe who knows? Maybe Brady didn't like that. Everyone says that it's not true. Everyone who knows Bruce Arians like, nah, that didn't happen. He truly wanted to. They said, "Don't you care about going to the Hall of Fame and all that stuff?" And he said, "I don't care about the Hall of Fame." Um, People are like, yeah, that's why we love him so much. He just cares about, he wanted the next guy up to succeed, and he said his whole point was to succeed and to move up to the front office. That's what he always wanted, was to move up to the front office and all. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, dude, if you love football though, like who says I don't care about the Hall of Fame, right? Now, I know we just said T.O. doesn't, but clearly the rest of these guys do. So
Right.
to say that is very interesting, and I think he knew he wasn't going to make the Hall of Fame. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't really care about it, but I don't want to say nothing bad about him because, like I said, everyone who knows him seems to say that he's this great guy. So I'm gonna roll with that. But this guy did meet with the owner. Well, I say that. So they said that the owner wasn't there when he went over and was hosted in his booth, watching the goat of soccer play a couple weeks ago. He said that the owner wasn't there. It was Brady and his family. They got to go there, whatever, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they didn't talk about this then and all. But either way, I don't know, man. Just the timing of it and everything. Like, do you really believe that he was going to step down if Brady hadn't come back? The timing seems really off and weird about it. But
I think it was very.
all I can do is take his
It
word
was
for it.
it was a decision that was not left up to him. Put it that way.
That was like, I'm just gonna take his word for it and all their word for it. Listen, I don't believe it, but I don't really have enough evidence not to believe it. But yeah, it's a weird situation. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And another thing is, maybe who knows? Maybe Brady's mad that he got rid of his boy AB. Maybe that's what it is. Hey, that guy. By the way, who's winning at this point? AB or Bruce Arians? I mean, it's AB might have.
Well, technically, Bruce Arians is still with the Bucks, so I guess he would be winning. He's still getting paid.
Yeah, but he did.
He ain't getting paid by nobody.
Well, I don't know that he is or isn't, but I'll tell you this: AB was right.
I'll put it like this: he ain't getting paid by one of the 32 teams.
Okay, but AB, that don't matter to him. Like AB has always been AB. He's his own, now the new AB is.
But when you say you didn't need 30 million, something wrong.
I agree. I think he knew he messed up, but I kind of appreciate that he just kept running with it. Like instead of like bowing down and kissing the ring or kissing the shield.
It ain't kissing the ring. It's just being obvious. Who in the hell says I don't need 30 mil? Everybody needs 30 mil.
I don't know, man. Kyrie, Ben Simmons. Listen, some people say, listen, there's more important things than this, and part of that is me, right? I put myself.
All you had to do was be quiet for about 3 days, and you would have got 30 mil. Can you be quiet for 3 days?
Ring. That's kissing the ring, kissing the shield.
No, it ain't. You just got to shut up for 3 days. You can say what you want.
Do you think the NFL ever shuts up? Do you think the NFL ever shuts up?
You just because they say something don't mean you got to say it back. We just talked about earlier. Sticks and stones may break my bones.
Right, but at some point, right? Like it doesn't matter how good a job is. If you feel like disrespected in a job and you're willing to walk away from the money, I respect that too. I'm not saying whether they're right or wrong. I'm just saying
how did they disrespect them?
Who, AB?
Yeah, how did the Raiders disrespect?
Well, the Raiders?
That's who he was with. That would have gave him 30 mil guaranteed. If he could have been quiet until Monday.
Okay, they spent an entire summer talking about him not complaining about the new helmets. They spent an ESPN and Fox
because he got an old ass helmet.
Oh, I'm sorry. He had a player on that same team that threatened to shoot up a funeral home that same year. How come that
makes it right?
How come? No, but I'm saying it was clearly a hit piece. It was clearly a hit piece they were doing on him. There were so many other huge stories, and they just said, "Oh, guy on our team that all in the past has made all kinds of racist and threatening comments to other players on the team."
Okay, but you're saying the obvious. The NFL are hypocrites. We know
that didn't hit the news. How did that not hit the news
already? The NFL is a bunch of hypocrites. We know this. You're not telling us anything we don't already know.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. That was a hit piece.
All right, so
this is not to
wait. Good people. Who got in a hyperbaric chamber with wet feet? No socks, no shoes, no nothing.
What do you mean? We had a president who died from
no. Hang on. We had a president in a hyperbaric chamber without anything to protect his feet.
I'm assuming you mean AB.
The boy he damn near got frostbite on his feet.
Oh, okay, no one said he
What?
was the smartest person in the world. What's your point?
Some of the stuff you did on your own, sir. He, not
Okay,
you.
but
He.
listen, we had a president on inauguration day who didn't wear his coat, got pneumonia, and died 30 days later.
He's the goofy one.
Okay, but
You just blew my
what I'm
point.
saying is
You made that choice,
even
so you
smart
gotta live
people
with it.
make even smart people make stupid choices. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people make bad choices in life. You can tell me you never went outside without a coat on. I just we're
Yes, I
fishing here.
have.
We're fishing here. These are hit pieces. Listen,
Okay. Maybe it's a hit piece, but you're telling me you have to prove something so bad that you can't be quiet for 72 hours
again, you're
for
confusing
for
me. You're
for them
confusing
to give you 30 million fully guaranteed.
you're confusing two things. I said I respect his decision, not that he was right. I never said he was
Oh,
right.
I was sure about to be like, John,
I never said he was right.
you don't know what?
Right. So, okay, same with the Raiders this year. Raiders this year did a hit piece on their former coach. He was clearly wrong for stuff he'd said
Was
and
it
done
a
in the
hit
past.
piece or did he just wasn't that smart by emailing
Definitely
people?
hit piece when thousands and thousands of emails from all those rich dudes at the top came out. Or sorry, from all those rich dudes and only one dude's emails came out. Nah, release them all. Let us read them all. I want to read them all. No, it was definitely a hit piece. It was definitely a hit piece.
It could have been.
No, yeah, the NFL targets their own all the time. If they want to get rid of someone, they target them and they're efficient at it. I want to read the rest of them emails and then I'll make a decision. Listen, I'm not saying he's not a bad
We
dude.
gotta get back to Bruce Arians. Let's get back to him because we done went on a whole nother tangent. Let's get back to Bruce Arians. I think we both can agree he made this decision, but it wasn't really his decision. He was like, "Look, either you do this, or you're fired, or something, or you ain't working for us no more." I think that's
Yeah,
what it was.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting because we've never seen really a football player, right? It's happened in NBA all the time. We haven't really seen a football player
It
put
just
together
happened
his
with
own,
Brad Stevens.
right, but we haven't seen a football player put together his own team before until Brady, really. That's something new we'd seen. But we've never seen a football player pick his own coach. And that's what makes this very interesting is like now this guy has enough power to be like, I'm coming back for 1 year and we're going to revamp the team all around me. That's crazy because you got star power in the building when you're willing to, if all this is true, to move that many pieces around just for one guy to come back. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So next topic, another incredible thing that has never happened before: the Duke North Carolina rivalry has just took an, to a whole new level. Tomorrow, you have Duke, UNC playing against each other for a chance in the national championship game. It's crazy to believe this is the first time ever they've met, but
In the men's bracket, they've met in the women's bracket.
all right, well, in the men's bracket. But I think this might be probably the most important game in Duke North Carolina history
I mean, yeah,
because this can almost pencil in a well it this will almost pencil in a champion.
this
Almost.
could be bigger than the championship, in a
Oh,
sense, right?
100%. 100%.
Like if
100%.
you're Duke or North Carolina and you beat the other, that's a huge deal. So
It's
like
gonna be a bunch of baby blue and royal blue throughout the stadium.
yeah, and so if you get bounced in the championship game, like that's disappointing. But at the same time, like you can still hang your hat on, like, yeah, we beat Duke, we beat North Carolina in the Final Four. It is the biggest game, I feel, just based off all the different things. Listen, you got one of the all-time greats uh, retiring, possibly after this game if he loses. It's the Final Four. It's not like you guys met in the Sweet 16 or something. and of course it's Duke, North Carolina, and
My
also one
bad.
of them ranked.
Carolina blue. It's gonna be a bunch of Carolina blue and baby blue. I mean Carolina blue and royal blue in the stadium tomorrow.
Yeah, and one team is ranked higher than the other, but the other team beat them in the last run. So
The last game before the dang on tournament,
yeah,
before
so there's a
ACC.
lot. There's a lot going in, a lot of different storylines going into this game. So it's a huge deal. It's definitely, and again, I'm not a Duke, North Carolina fan, so I'm sitting
I
here
am.
saying from an
I'm
outside
a North Carolina fan.
I'm saying from an outside perspective
Okay.
that to outside people who aren't connected to those schools, this is the
I am.
biggest game.
Let me
This is the biggest game we've ever seen. I'm sure them they will be like, nah, it was a game in 1982 where all right, fine, whatever, you got
Right,
me.
yeah.
Went
But
to
I think
triple
even the
overtime.
people from 1982 would be like, this might be a little bigger than ours. Because this is a chance to go to the championship game.
I have a lot of family in North Carolina, and they're all UNC fans. So
They're smart
I
people. Smart
so I
people.
lean I lean UNC whenever they play, but I
It's
don't
gonna be
really have.
tough. I think this game is gonna be close. If either team gets blown out, I would be shocked. I can see this game being close from opening tip off to the final buzzer. And hopefully I can see North Carolina 74, Duke 71. I think North Carolina pulls away late with a couple free throws. They make it a free throw game, and I think North Carolina comes through. And this would be crazy for Coach K's final two losses
Ah,
be to
don't
his
do that
arch
to him. Don't do that
rival.
to him.
I'm just saying that would be like, are you freaking kidding me?
That poor guy deserves
Right?
better.
Yeah, like ain't this about nothing? And then too though, I think Duke is playing with a certain kind of dog because they were embarrassed that night. North Carolina put it on them, and you have fans crying, and even Coach K before he made his speech was like, "I'm disappointed. We lost like that." I don't
Yeah,
think he was disappointed in the fact that they lost on his game. It was like we just didn't look good.
I think looking
We got
back,
manhandled.
now, it's not that big of a deal in a sense, right? Because like,
But
oh, North Carolina.
I think for Duke though, it was a sour taste in their mouth.
But I think a
And
lot of that had to do with North Carolina's record at the time. I mean, they were not ranked that highly, compared to Duke coming into that game. Now looking back, seeing them in the Final Four, it's like, okay, maybe they're better than we gave them credit. But back then, like, Duke was supposed to win that game, not soundly, but they were just supposed to win that game, and especially I believe it was at home too. Um, I think it was at home for Duke. So
yes, it was at Duke. Yes, it was his final home game coaching.
right. So
Coach
yeah.
K.
So I think back then it was it was more shocking to lose. Obviously, it's a big deal, but I think it was more shocking back then to lose to them than it is now. Like looking back, we're like, okay, you know what? North Carolina was better than we gave them credit. But we talked about this when this tournament started. We said, hey, it's looking like we might get us a Duke North Carolina thing. We said this in the second round, I think.
But I also said too when they lost to North Carolina, the only way you could make this up to Coach K would be winning the national title. And what are the odds? You have to play the same team again to get to the national title. Like,
What
you only this stuff only happens in movies.
I
It,
mean, I'm not going to get into that because
it
we talked about
does.
this a lot. No, I agree, and that's what I'm saying is like
Almost
it
almost like
seems a little
it's
scripted.
almost it's almost similar to Alabama and Georgia. Georgia
But
got manhandled by Alabama, and then
doesn't it seem a little scripted?
I mean, I think most sports are scripted. I'm not
Yeah. So
surprised.
again, we're not going to go down that road, but yeah, I mean,
But I
it
would
seems
I
a
would
little all
I
right.
would definitely feel bad for Coach K if tomorrow night when the clock strikes midnight, and I would feel bad for him if he lost again to
I mean,
North Carolina.
again, I don't want to go too far down the road, but how much have you heard from this tournament compared to other tournaments about how poor the refereeing is, and how lopsided some of the refereeing seems in some of these games?
Yeah, that's true.
It's been way worse than I've heard in one of these tournaments in a long time.
Very
Uh,
true.
Obviously NBA and NFL and stuff a lot, but like in a college tournament bracket, I haven't heard people complain this much about the refereeing in the past, how lopsided it's been. So, it does make it look a little fishy, but listen, it's Duke, North Carolina. They gave us what we wanted. Now these players need to go out and give us the 74-71 game you predicted. If this game turns into a 95-72 one lopsided game, then it's not going to live up to the hype at all. And I don't
Well,
think it'll go down
I,
as one of the greatest games of all time.
I mean, depending on who's on the winning side of that, it'll be like, hey, this is the greatest game ever.
If Duke
Whoever's-
wins it lopsided, sure. If UNC wins it lopsided, unless one of these kids comes out and becomes an all-time great, like it's gonna
I
be
would be shocked
a forgotten game.
if either one of those teams lose by 10 or more. I would be like, damn, they wasn't prepared.
So,
Oh,
so whoever wins this game, are they winning the championship, or is it going to be too? Is the emotion
think,
going to carry over the game, or is it going to be too much to carry over?
no, I don't think it'll be too much. Well, I mean, it could be. It could be
Do you
because
think they ride this high into
I
the
think because I think a couple years ago, like Ohio State when they played Clemson, they put all that into beating Clemson. They didn't have nothing for Alabama. But I think Coach K and having a brain fart. The coach for North Carolina, I
Roy
think,
Williams?
no, Roy Williams is
Oh, the new coach.
yeah, the black coach. I think both of them being in these situations before will know exactly how to handle it. It almost be like, hey, celebrate this, but after midnight, when the clock strikes midnight, forget about it and prepare for the national title.
Yeah,
Celebrate this, from whatever time the game ends, 5 to 7, or I mean, 5 to noon, 5 to midnight, or 7 to midnight, whatever. But after this, clean slate, because whoever wins that other game is not going to give a damn.
I
Who
hope
you
it's
beat.
Kansas. I hope UNC wins this game. I hope Kansas wins the other one, and then Kansas wins it all. But man, Kansas in that. We'll move on after this. But Kansas in their last game, poor first half, and then second half, that team can ball in the
I
second. Man,
think,
they came out in that second half,
yeah, but Villanova,
put it on.
it's something about Villanova in these games, man. They find ways to win. The last couple times they've been in these games, they some way somehow became champs.
I
We
agree.
saw a couple years ago with the shot, and then a couple years out, I think I want to say a year or two after that. Um, what's the point guard for the Mavs? He won from Chicago. What is his name? I think he's like Luca's backup or something like that. He ended up winning. Jalen Bronson.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they went and won. So you can't sleep on Villanova. The coach has been there, done that. And he's really the most recent to have been there, done that. So, you definitely, Kansas don't have a game on their hands too.
yeah. It's interesting because I mean the women's bracket happened earlier today, and pretty much all one seeds, man. Like
Yeah,
there was
UConn
one
and
and a two.
South Carolina, right?
Yeah, but it was all the final four was a 1-1-1-2. Like there is no parity in that.
Well, I
In
think I
that
think
bracket.
the thing about the men's though, it's more confusion because a lot of teams, like you were saying earlier about Duke, a lot of bigger teams don't take the smaller team serious. And then when you look up and you lost, you're like, ain't this about nothing?
Yeah,
So
but what's happening with we saw with was it Duke a few years ago where Barrett and Zion and all them guys go join up. That happens in the women's bracket every year. Like they all go to UConn. It's like the Warriors every year in UConn and in Stanford and South Carolina. Like those schools are like loaded, and then the other schools, man, are just they
yeah,
just you know
but I think too you got to give Coach Oriema credit because for him to sustain this kind of greatness over this long, it's like damn dog. What do you be telling these girls? Because every year they're in this position.
yeah.
Some
But you'd
years
think
they've
that
lost.
you'd think that some of them would go play for the other schools, like they'd want competition. You know what I mean? Like there's no parity, man.
Well,
They,
I
they
think
just
I think UConn is like Alabama. It's a gate. It's pretty much the gateway to the WNBA. You go perform there, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be a top 5, top 10 pick. Same thing with Alabama. If you're a standout guy, you're gonna get drafted first day in the NFL. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And then you got a lot of people. You got Maya Moore, Stewart. You got and those are just probably two of the best. You know, to do it. In the recent history. But it's like it's the gateway to the WNBA. It's the gateway to your ultimate goal.
yeah.
So and even I mean you can say Notre Dame too with Skylar Diggins, but even Stanford with Ogumake, both of the sisters, they end up going to the WNBA. But it seemed like every year UConn is somebody from UConn is top tier, getting drafted top 5, top 10 to the WNBA. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And then
I
when
agree.
you walk down that Hall of Fame, seeing all them pictures, all them girls you've been watching, you know, it's like, bruh, you ain't got no choice but to be great. Because if you be great, you go into the pros. If you don't, it's like, what was wrong with you? Because he putting you in a position to succeed. You just gotta do it. He's been at this way too long to not help you fulfill your potential. And that's I would say that about any coach. If you product, even Nick Saban, it's like you're doing something right. Somebody every year is going top 5, top 10. I think in the last, I would like to see that in like the last 10 years. How many Alabama players have went like top 5, top 10? He
I
might
feel like they get a running back and half their offensive line drafted every single year.
or receiver.
Oh yeah, their quarterbacks, their offensive line, their running back. I take that back. Everyone, their linebackers, their safeties, everyone gets drafted.
Even
It's
this past year, you had Devontae Smith go top
yeah,
10, I believe. No, he went 11.
yeah.
But
The whole freaking team. I'm pretty sure their kicker gets drafted.
you had the Patrick Surtain guy go top 10. He went to Denver, and a couple other guys after that. So yeah, I mean it's the pipeline. So I think that's why a lot of them girls are like, hey, whatever he want, we going. But
I get it. I just love me a Dwayne Wade, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler story. Guys
I
who went to
mean,
the
well, it'd be a lot of those too. I mean, look at what Brittany Grinder did at Baylor. She,
Hey man, Baylor was balling that year though. They had
but
RG
that's what I'm saying.
three, RG3, and her at the same
Yeah,
time. It was
that's
their
yeah.
school was on top of the world.
Business was booming down there in Waco, Texas. That is where they at, right? Waco. I ain't wanna get the wrong place.
Um, I don't know where Baylor. I don't know what town Baylor's in.
Let's look that up.
What's the name of the town? It's not Baylor, but I just if there's a town named Baylor, Texas, I'd feel real stupid. But no, if that's where it was, but no, it's not. It's not called Baylor. I don't know the name of the town.
Okay. But in our final topic, yes, it is Waco, Texas. Cool. So I was right. I was right. Okay, cool. But final topic, man. John's St. Louis Cardinals has a big three. They're a little older,
A
They're a
lot older.
little, they're a little older.
It's been about 11 years.
But what do you expect from your St. Louis Cardinals this upcoming season?
Okay, I'm actually picturing like Dwayne Wade, Rondo's, Butler's last run in Chicago. That's what I'm expecting. Like a 41-41 type team that makes the playoffs. Maybe
And
this
losing the first round?
possibly. I mean, listen, these guys are not young, right?
True.
But here's the thing: that's still an achievement. Um,
True.
I do think so. St. Louis is right. They're kind of the the New England Patriots of I said it actually might be close related to the Cardinals, right? Where they grow their own talent.
Right.
Um, where
Yeah, I heard that that AAA pipeline or whatever they call it, where they pick up a lot of those guys. They say St. Louis is top tier,
yeah,
best
I,
of the best.
I think this is more so much just a great story. It's a great baseball story.
Hmm.
It's three man. These guys were dominant at the top of their when they were when they were playing together. As soon as Pujols took the money, right? Because he went to LA, left us for LA. We're a small town. He walked for 20 million. Like, right? Like and again, 20 million is a lot of money. It's crazy money.
Yeah.
But when your contract is 220 million versus 200 million, to at that point, like 20 million is still a lot, but it's not as
Let,
much as
let,
20 million versus
let's be
zero.
honest though, it looks better. If they want to, if somebody
And
wants
so
us to do something for 220, it just looks a little, like they ain't 220.
I
It
mean,
looks better.
we just saw it with Devontae Adams, right? They offered him, I think, 23 million, and he said, "No, I want the 28." Right?
Mm-hmm.
We just saw it with, I think, Tyreek, right? I think they offered him pretty good
Both of
contract.
them are making like 30 mil a year.
Yeah, in Florida was no taxes, so
Right.
it not no taxes, but no income. So no income tax, but so we've seen it all the time, right? But the fans, they always kind of felt like Pujols was a St. Louis, through and through, right? So
He
when
was.
I
He
think
was.
it kind of caught a lot of them off guard, like, oh, he's really leaving. Like, all right, he's going up to join Josh Hamilton and then Mike Trout and all them guys. Like, he's going to form a super team, sort of like what
Pretty much.
KD did. But it didn't work out.
Especially batting wise.
Yeah,
That's
but Josh Hamilton,
having a pitch against that
but
would give me a
but
headache.
but Josh Hamilton fell off real fast, and then Pujols fell off not much longer, and then whatever. So this is more but so Molina became our guy. Like Molina is the man, and they love him to death. He was always it's kind of like it was split, right? But it instantly became 100% Molina's town. I mean that dude could do he might be allowed like one robbery a year, and we'd be like, that's cool. He's Molina, I mean, like, I got robbed by Molina. He's only got one this year. If he does it again, maybe we'll arrest him. But it's just great it's a great story. Seeing these guys come back together, and it's not. It's also because a lot of these guys come back, sign a 1-day contract, and then retire with their team. But like he's actually coming back and playing a full season, and I think that means a lot. And also, it's what sort of led to Molina coming back. He was about to retire as well, so these guys all kind of signed up for one more 1-year contract and decided to make a run at it. And I think it's gonna be fun to watch. It's not gonna be Kobe's final tour, but if they're actually winning, it could be like that. I mean, right? Because Kobe actually didn't even win on his final tour, so they weren't even
Right.
winning games. So
But he did go out in style with that.
yeah, and so when you got these three guys, they definitely could go out in style, and just have fun with it. But I think it would mean a lot more if they, at least made the playoffs. But Cardinals tend to make the playoffs.
100%. Yeah. I think like you say, it probably will be like that Bulls team. Um and hopefully they just get a fan some memories,
I mean, Pujols
Now
is chasing some records too. So
yeah. Have St. Louis Cardinal games be like the home run derby. Get the people a show.
and
I don't because once you start, especially in baseball, those hips and those shoulders, and that all them swings you've been doing all your life, it takes a toll on you. I was watching an interview with King Griffey. He's still getting hip and knee replacements. And he been out seemed like for a couple years. So I can only imagine, what the guys, especially like a Pujols and the other guys are going through today. So, we just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, about
Hopefully,
everyone in that league has had a shoulder or an arm or elbow replaced at some point.
right.
But yeah, I mean, he could move into like fourth all time in home runs with this year. Behind, he's behind A-Rod right now, but he
Mhm.
could be behind. Let's see. Listen to these names: Babe Ruth, obviously,
Wow.
the all-time great Barry
Me?
Bonds. Yeah,
Oh, I thought you were gonna say me.
Barry Bonds,
Boy, you too kind.
and then of course Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron, who's second place. So
Hey,
you got
that's
Barry
that's
Bonds.
an impressive list,
Yeah,
though.
so he couldn't pass those three.
Right.
Babe, Hank, or Barry, but he could move into fourth if he passes A-Rod this year, and it's possible, it's doable. So
That's almost like being on a list with Mike, Wilt, and Kareem. It's like, damn, dog, that's pretty good company.
yeah, so that's what he's chasing this year. So I don't know if he's going to turn into a home run derby, but he's going to need a couple of them though to get
Yeah,
past A-Rod. But yeah, man, I'm excited for it. Like I said, is there championship expectations from them? No, no,
yeah.
we're not delusional,
Well, I mean, every team feel like they can win. They
but
might say
if they win a first round playoff series, it's gonna that will be legendary. That'll be that'll be something we'll remember for all time for sure.
right. Well,
In St. Louis, but I
I
think
would
it's a good.
definitely be watching.
Yeah, but as a whole, I think just a good baseball story all around. Just seeing these three guys and Wainwright, man. I mean, he was a killer back in the day
Yeah,
on the mound.
yeah.
So
Well, hey, man. I hope best of luck to those St. Louis Cardinal fans and those players. Hopefully they lose to the Cubs and the Sox. But
no, no,
we
whoa, you can't be both. You can't be both. Is it one or
hey,
the other? The Sox or Cubs? Pick one.
this big shy all day. Hey, I hope
Unbelievable.
it is what it
Unbelievable.
is.
What part of Chicago are you from? You
It don't matter. I'm
Bronzeville? You live
Chicago.
smack dab in the
I'm,
middle?
I'm through and through. It don't matter.
uh,
I
goodness.
live downtown, so I don't care.
Hey man, I remember when the Cardinals played the Cubs in the playoffs a couple years ago, and I was thinking, it's about time. I'm finally glad that these guys actually can run with us because for years we've just been slamming them, and I was like, I'm excited
You
for
just had
this.
to throw that in there, didn't you?
As soon as the game came on, it all came back. I was like, man, I hope their bus gets flat tires. I hope their plane doesn't take off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I hope these guys don't even like make it to the game. Like, I couldn't stand them to see them.
Hey,
Like, I was like, oh, it all came back. And there's no rivalry between the actual players anymore, but it
it
all
ain't.
came back real fast.
It ain't. It ain't. It ain't. It is what it is. Chicago has that kind of effect on people. We're just.
I don't mind the Sox. I like the Sox. I don't. I
I'm
don't
just
like
saying in
the Cubs.
general. Chicago. We'll slap you around. You be a little pissed off, but you ain't about that life. But
Hey, just slap me with an open hand, like don't punch me, right?
hey, I ain't gonna turn my back though, because you might slap me with a mic or something. But it is what it is. But we want to thank all of you for tuning in. We
Yeah,
appreciate you guys. We appreciate all of our subscribers. Thank you. Keep watching. Like,
that's
share,
right.
subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you to our 29 subscribers. Definitely
Yes,
come back, check us out, stay healthy, and we want to see you on the next one as well.
yes. Be
And
safe.
let us know what topics y'all want to hear about. So,
Right, and don't be nowhere where you can catch COVID, because it's not nothing to play with.
well,
If
that's
I ain't
anyway.
never told you nothing before, I just did. So we'll see you later. All right, guys.